everybody, welcome to Alisas Art Room. Today we're going to be working some more on my country farmhouse junk journal. Y'all come in and say hi, let me know you're here. We'll get started on this in just a minute. We are currently live on Facebook if you see the little red button at the top left. If not, you're catching a replay either here or over on YouTube. Let me get you guys pulled up so I can see chat. Hey Dawn, thanks for letting me know the sound is good. I appreciate that. All right, let me see. Where's my journal? Oh, there it is. So here's the journal. It's getting there, guys. It's starting to fill out. So we're going to be working on this. I saw a little, I think she called it a mini album. I'm calling it, what did I call it? I don't even remember now. Can't see my description now. I'm calling it, I think, a window pocket folio, something like that. But we're going to try this. I saw it on Treasure Books. Natasa did one. Hers was a little bit different. I changed it up a little bit. So I will link her video in the description on YouTube after the live, and then you can see the differences and stuff. But I think it'll be fun. It's a tiny bit, I wouldn't say complicated, but maybe it might take a while because there's some covering and stuff that's going on. So we're going to try it out, and I think that's it. I have a couple of the little sheeps that I showed you with sheep, that's plural I guess, that I showed you with the stencils, and I did a few of those using some crackle paste. I'm going to show you those. I might try to do one real quick. I wasn't going to have time for it to dry obviously, but I think I can do that too, so we're going to try that. So let me go ahead, I'll get this camera pulled up and we will get started. All right, 1 second. Wrong way. All right, I think that's good. So let's see where I stuck it. I'll probably do the stencils first. They're going to take just a minute to dry. They don't need to dry on camera because I already did some that are prepared. So I'm just trying to grab all this stuff. It's all buried. It's kind of out, but it's not. Okay, so where was I going to put this page? I might just stick it here when I'm done. It needs a pocket that's on a sturdy page. I might make a pocket, and I might just put it in one of the front or back pockets because it's kind of made to not really be glued down. So we'll do that. So what I did, let's see. These are just some cards. I went ahead and backed. Most of these are the down on the, this is Down on the Farm, I know. This is Sherm Studio. This is Boho Chicken. All of these have links in my descriptions on YouTube. This is Down on the Farm. This one's just for you, Dawn. Isn't this the tractor you said you liked? Farmhouse? I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. I was like, oh, I think that's the one she said. I might be wrong. All right. So, sheep. Sheep. I was right. So this is basically what we're going to make. This is a prototype I did real quick. But basically it's a flip out. It's got a pocket, journaling space, possibly another pocket, and then a pocket here. And then on the inside, mine has windows. She didn't use window envelopes on hers. And then a pocket, tag pocket there, tag pocket here. And then this, obviously something can go down through there and through here. So it's kind of interesting. Like I said, this is just a prototype. I wanted to make sure I could do it first. And so these are the little sheeps I did. Sheeps, I keep saying sheeps. Sheep. One of those plural words that messes with you. Where's the stencil? All right. I assume this is still available. Honestly, I haven't looked. But if it is, it's from Essential Stencil, and you can use my code ARTROOM to get 10% off. It has a smaller one with it, which was awesome. I love when they do that, because I've kind of moved away from doing signs, and I've kind of moved over to doing mostly junk journaling. Although I do still do signs every now and then, but not as much. Honestly, because they just weren't selling. And I got to do what makes me money. Okay, so I did these to try out using this texture paste crackle medium. Mine is really old. It's almost dried out. I need to buy some more. I like it. It works really well, but it does not like cardstock. It doesn't stick well to cardstock, and after you do it, it tends to want to flake off. So I always coat mine. See how it's not flaking off now? I always coat mine with some matte medium. Matte medium. After I'm done and it's completely dried. And that keeps it from flaking off. Tim said sometimes the issue is just that there's not enough tooth for it to grab, because I did it on the smooth cardstock and have the issue. So then I did it on a painted card folder, which has plenty of tooth, and it still did it. So I don't know if maybe mine's just old, and if the newer one doesn't do that as much, but I had some issues with that. And then I also did, where's that texture paste at? This one using my light molding paste, which gives a very different look, but it's still a textured finish. I don't know if you probably can't see the raised, but it looks all fluffy. So I did those. They're pretty easy to do. You just take your medium. We'll use that crackle, because honestly I need to buy a new jar of it because it's old. And grab yourself something to put it on. Let's see. I think I have some card backing thingies here. Maybe brown this time. I like the green. I think it looks good on green. Here's the green. I'm just going to do it on one of these, and then I'll figure out what to do with it later. But just to show you how I did it. So this one, you put the circle first, the fur. And then second, you put the legs in the head, okay? But this one is the opposite. On this one, you put the head and legs first, and then the fur on the top. Okay, so they're a little bit different in technique. And you can use paint or whatever. It does warp your card. Can't tell you where, because I already covered them. It does warp it. You can kind of see it a little bit there. But it was really, really, really bad warped on the back of that. So I had to back it onto something else. And it's fine once I backed it. I was able to flatten it out. But it does warp it. So if you're not using something pretty heavy, it will warp it. Just be aware of that. Okay, so we'll do this longer one. So like I said, you got to do the feet and legs first. So figure out where you want it. I'm just going to kind of put it here, because I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. I'm just going to do this real quick just to show you, because I know a lot of you wanted to see this. I'm going to use gesso for the black. You can use black paint too, but my black paint is shiny because it's that multi-surface satin. It's got a little bit more shine to it than I wanted, and my gesso is matte, so I'd rather use my gesso. And then you just use a stencil brush of some sort. I'm just gonna, I think, did I wash that? It's really stiff. don't think I washed it very well. I think I'll use the littler one anyway. I might use this one. Oh, we'll use this one. All right. So some sort of a stencil brush. We're just going to use this. If you tape it to your card, use the really, really light tack tape. The blue tape sometimes will peel it off. I'm just going to put some black on here, offload it a little bit. And I'm just going to stipple it, honestly, because I kind of wanted a little more texture to it. And it gives just a little bit of texture. It doesn't take much paint. I got a lot more there than I even need. And then you can let that dry and add another coat if you want, but I don't think it's really necessary. The black covers really well. I'm just going to wash this out in some water. Set it aside to clean properly later. And just going to put this, where can I put this? I'll try putting it there. And we'll peel this off. Okay, so we have the little head and legs. And then make sure there's no paint on the back before you go moving it. And then what you do is you line up the little face and the legs to where the face is ideally completely covered. And the legs can show a little bit, that's fine. And then cover it again. And just make sure it's not going to move too much. I'll put one more piece right here. And then I'm going to use a palette knife. I think, do I want this one or this one? I prefer this one. It is harder to get it out of the jar with this one than this one, but I always have a harder time with this shape for some reason. Tim says he prefers the plastic ones to the metal ones, so it's probably just going to be a matter of preference as to what you like. I'm going to put this on a plate because it's, like I said, it's getting really thick because it dries out. If you don't use your stuff, guys, it will go bad. It doesn't last forever. So use it. You got to use it or you're going to lose it. That's the best way I know to put it. Use it or lose it. So we're just going to grab a little bit of this on our palette knife. Make sure that you push this down, okay? And then you want to hold it at about a 45-degree angle and go over that. I try to go from the outside in if I can, because it's less likely that it will bleed. But sometimes it doesn't look good if you do that, so you might have to play with. There's totally a hard piece in there. If you see that, can you see that? I don't know if you can even see it. That means there's like a hard chunk of something in there. I don't know where it is. I'm just gonna clean that off and try to grab another bit. It's because mine's drying out. Let's try and get some without a hard chunk in it. Come on. I'm not getting enough on there. I don't want to go too thick because it doesn't crackle as well if it's too thick. So you got to kind of find that comfort spot, I guess. So that's good. So ideally, I could have gotten away with like a, I don't know, a teaspoon of it. I'm not going to even bother putting that back in because honestly, it's so hard. I'm trying to find a way. Make sure you wipe your stencils off immediately with this stuff because once it dries, it's not easy to get off. So, and then you want to lift it up. I'm just gonna start by taking this tape off. I'm holding it in place while I'm removing that tape. And then just lift it straight. Okay. You'll see how his little head came off. I'll show you in a second. His head came off. His head didn't come off, but the stuff did a little bit. Here, I'll just clean this up. Look, can you see it? Look at that. It's raised. It didn't stick. Okay, so I find that is an issue when doing it on paper. I'm just going to push it back down if I can. I'm going to try to push it back down and hopefully it'll stay until I can get some matte medium on there. No, okay, I'm going to throw some glue under it. So if I can't get it to stick, and it does that, if I can move all my stuff, you can throw a little bit of glue under it. If you can open your glue, oh my goodness gracious, what did I do to my glue? Okay, I want to put just a little bit of glue under there. See if I can get this to stay down while it's drying. So I don't know if it's just that mine's too dried out or what, but I definitely had some issues with it wanting to stay attached. But like I said, if you use the matte medium, it solves the problem and it works fine. Now you can see right now it looks like this. It doesn't look crackled at all. It takes about, oh, I don't know, 20 minutes maybe before you get this. Okay, so I'm gonna set this aside and we'll see if at the end of the live if I remember to show you it again, that it crackled and how I try to fix that. So that's how that works. Make sure you clean off your stencil. You can just throw it in water if you have water while you're doing other things. You don't have to do it absolutely immediately, but it's best if you do. At least keep it wet so it can't get hard. If it does get hard on there, you could probably just flake it off, honestly, but I like to just go ahead and pull off as much as I can because it's kind of thick on there. And then I'll just wipe that down with a wipe. You can use a wash rag. I would normally just wipe off the excess as much as I can and then take it to the sink. You don't want to put that down your sink any more than you have to. Try to get as much of the bulk of it off first. And then the paint itself you can just wipe off. It cleans up pretty easy. So that's good enough until I can get it to the sink later. Okay. So there's that. Wasn't really going to do that today, but I wanted to show it to you guys since I'm going to probably throw those in the journal somewhere. Let's clean this off. That. Put the glue back on. I must not have cleaned this very well. I find if it's sticking a little bit, it helps if you just wet it and the pen and then it goes back in. Okay, so there's that. Alright, so that's done, but these are really cute. I do like them a lot. I think it's really cute, and like I said, once you matte medium it down, it's nice and on there. I did not have issues with this one sticking. It stuck just fine. So those are that. Let's move that aside and go on to what we were going to do today. So you need 2 envelopes. They can have a window, not have a window. It's up to you. These envelopes are these credit card type things I get in the mail, and I sand them down. So depending on the material, it will look a little different. Sometimes they're shiny, sometimes they're matte. And I just use like a 360 grit or something. I'm going to do just a little bit real quick. If I find my 360. You want to put something over your surface. Don't sand on this. It will scratch it all up. Okay? But it's easy to do. Protect your window. Don't scratch your little window up. But I just do that. It just takes off all of the stuff, or at least the majority of it. Okay, and I do the whole thing. That way, if I don't cover it with something, it doesn't look like a, you know, it's a junk mail envelope. And I usually take a damp cloth and just wipe everything down. It's messy, so ideally you should wear a mask, because it's got really fine, you know, ink or whatever this stuff is. So it is messy. All right, so that's how I do that. Dry, dry, dry. All right. So 2 envelopes. I try to keep these when I open them, if I can. And for this project, you do need those. And you could totally use just new envelopes. You don't have to use a used one, but I'm using a used one. Because I get too many of these, even though I told them to quit sending them. They tell you to put your name on that little list. Yeah, it doesn't work. They still send them. So what you want to do is you're going to figure out which direction you want your folder. If you want the little flippy things on this side, you do it one way, and if you want them on this side, you do it the other way. The only way I can tell you really is show you. So if you do it this way, your little flippy things are going to be on this side because they attach to this flap. And then if you turn it over and you do it this way, then the flippy things will be on this side. Okay, I want them on the side the window is on, because that's how I did it here. Okay, so I'm turning my envelope flaps the opposite direction of what they would naturally go. Now, because my windows are the same, when I do this, I'm going to get one on top and one on the bottom. If you wanted them to both be on the bottom or both be on the top, you need to have opposite windows. And sometimes you can find that. I have some that are the opposite window, but I don't mind one being on the top and one on the bottom. I think it looks interesting. So you want to make sure that you get them all prepared, and then to where you want your flaps. And you're going to make sure that it can fold both ways. So what's going to happen is you're going to leave a tiny, tiny gap right here. Not much, just not even a 1/16, just enough to where it should be able to move freely. Okay, and then we're going to glue this together, and then we're going to trim it. And I'm going to glue the whole thing, even though I'm going to take some of it off. So I'm just going to make sure I'm about where I need to be. Ideally, as straight as you can get it and as lined up as you can get it. So do that. And I'm just going to put enough glue to hold them together. I will be losing most of that. You don't need that much of a tab to hold on to. You really only need, like, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch or so. I think I moved. Hold on. Now, oh, thanks, Dave. I literally texted him and said, I'm going live. Don't call. He hung up as soon as he realized what he was doing. Okay, so then just double check that everything folds. Okay. I do this part first. You can cut off your ends first too. It doesn't really matter, I don't think. But I did that first. That way I know I've got it where I need it to be. And then we're going to trim the ends off. And it's going to go into that, so it doesn't really matter. I'm trimming it to the size I need for my junk journal. And it's almost the size. This is like right at 9. And I need it to be like 8.5. So I'm just going to trim like 1/4 of an inch off of each side. Well, I'm going to trim like a little bit less off of this side since it's closer to the pocket, and I can trim off a little bit more there. So just use your ruler and your grid to do it straight. You could use scissors, but you know. So I'm going to do like maybe 1/8 of an inch on this side. And I'm just going to cut it off. And it all depends on, you know, how big the area is you're going to put it. It's going into a pocket, so I will lose a little bit of room from the pocket. So I can't have it too tall. Oh, come on, Dave. What is he doing? I wonder if he's butt dialing me. He did that to me at work when he was working the other day, like 6 times in a row. I was like, seriously? Lock your phone. I assume nothing's wrong. I'm on Do Not Disturb, so I can't tell if he came in the house. Hold on. I don't know. I'm going to cut this other side real quick. Oh, got the window there. Oh, okay. Never mind. I hear him. So he's here. I don't know what he's doing. Some days. So my window's on both sides. I forgot that. So just do it about an equal amount. Go through. There you go. All right, let's check our length. That's about 8.5. That should be okay. Let me stick it in the pocket real quick. Where is my... There it is. I want to make sure that it will fit where I want to put it. I think it's going to fit in here fine. But this pocket is a little high. Yeah, that'll be all right. Okay. So it'll fit there fine if that's where I choose to put it. So now what you have is this piece like this. Okay. My windows are dirty because I didn't clean the insides. Let me see if I can find something to do that with. A little bit of sanding dust on there still. All right, so you end up with that. And what you're going to do is, you've got these little pieces where the envelope is. It'll vary depending on your envelope. And you can choose to either try to pull them off, or you can just cut around them. I am going to cut around them this time. The last time I pulled them off, and it got a little iffy as to whether it was going to rip. So I'm going to glue it down first. I'm not sure how much of this I'm going to keep, but you can angle it or not angle it. She angled her, or her envelope was angled. I'm not sure which. Like this is angled. Can you see that it's angled? So I did the same on mine. I think it looks kind of neat like that, angled. So I'll probably do that again. Like I said, I kind of changed it up just a tiny bit. I'm going to glue this. I don't know how much is, like I said, I don't know if I'll cut it off or not, but I might. And I'm going to cover this with something, so. I think on her, she did not cover it with anything. And she had a new envelope, I think, so it didn't really matter. But I'm not sure that mine will look great if I don't cover it. It's not horrible with the black kind of mottled look. I'm just trying to make sure that this is stuck good since I'm not going to peel it off. want to make sure everything is stuck. All right. I didn't do that on these. I think they're loose too. It probably would have peeled off okay. But yeah, you never know. I don't have another one. I didn't really feel like we're having to repair it. You can repair it. If it rips, you can just add, you know, cardstock or something over it. But ideally, you know, save yourself time. You don't have to repair it. All right, so since I'm going to do the flap, I got to think about the direction this opens. So this opens this way, I think is how I did it. That's the top window. Yeah, that's the top window. This will be covered. So I'm going to angle this down a little bit. The bottom you could keep straight. Hers was angled, but I think the bottom might look better straight. So I'll probably keep it straight and then angle the two top pieces. But I will cut off just the shape there on the bottom where the little curve comes around. I'm going to try to, I might use my corner rounder to round that. So I'm just going to cut it straight for right now. Find my corner rounder in a second. So for the two top pieces that I'm going to do, I'm going to put them together so that I can ideally get them the same. I'm going to find a point and a straight point so that I can get a decent angle. I don't know. We'll say about so much. Trying to make sure I'm on that point. I'm not getting into my window or anything, right? I don't think the window's on this part, but let me just double check. Nope, it's not. Okay. So to your point, and then wherever you want the angle, we'll go about there. All right. Come on. And then if anything didn't come off, we can just trim that. I don't know if I can get a curve with my rounder because it's not square anymore. But let's see what it does. Nope. All right, so we'll just cut a curve by hand. Something like that. Okay. This one I should be able to curve. It's still square. Okay, so now we have this. So we've got a curve there, and this will go like this. So it'll be here. This is going to be covered for a pocket. This is going to be covered for a pocket. This will be covered for journaling, whatever. And then this will be covered for a pocket. Or if you don't want to cover it, you don't have to. This is not horribly thin. So we're going to start with covering our, see, my envelopes. I definitely got to cover this because that envelope was thin. I obviously ripped it when I opened it. Okay, so let's figure out what we want. So this needs to be cardstock because it is a window pocket and I need it to be sturdy. This part, I just want scrapbook paper. I don't want anything heavy there because it's just going to add bulk. So let's find, I think I have some black and white cardstock. Let's see, where is it? I think I'm going to use this. Pretty sure I had some left. Yeah, I do. that. This is starting to crackle already. Look at that. See? But see how it's lifting? So anywhere it's lifting, it's not sticking well, so we'll have to fix that up. But it is cute. It's very cute. I do like the little sheep with the crackle. I think they look real cute like that. Okay, so we're going to cover this. You do want to make sure you come inside just a little bit. And I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to color this or anything or ink it. Some of it will show, but I can always ink it after. I think I want to have the stripes go. Debating. I think I want to have them long ways here. And then when I do this part, I might put them the other way for more of a journaling space, because I think I have a paper similar to this in scrapbook paper too, if I'm not mistaken. And if I am, then I am. So we'll do long ways here. So I want it just slightly smaller on the sides. The top and bottom can be exact, but the sides you do need it to be just slightly smaller. So I'm going to mark the sides first. I'm coming in, I don't know, we'll say a 16th. Pencil. I'm not going to worry about lining up the stripes or anything. The lines, they just are what they are. It should be straight, but you know, it's an envelope, who knows. So 2 of these, I think, should be the same size. Let me just double check if it looks the same size. It looks really close, so I think I can get away with that. Doing 2. I'll close this up because it's going to dry out on me. Nope, I waited too long. There. Okay. And cutter. It's right on the line. Thought I marked it for a second, but it was just right on the line. All right. And then we'll figure out the length. Well, this is just white on the other side, so it'll show white through my window when nothing is in there. If you don't want it to show white through your window, you need to think about that now as to what you want to show when it's opened. So we'll have to think about that if we want something to show there. I'm just going to double check the size looks right. Looks fine. So this gets cut here. And then we'll do this one here. Sure that I'm okay. Looks okay. And this gets cut here. So cut those. But that's why this takes a little bit of time. It's just, it's got a lot of covering and, you know, typical junk mail envelope kind of project. You do end up with a little bit of time consuming just because of, you know, cutting out and measuring and all that. You can also collage over the top of it and, you know, just have little collaged pieces. But honestly, I find it takes just as long. Make sure I'm the right direction. Yeah. So I might think about if I want anything to show through those windows. Could just be something simple, maybe a stencil or something. So let's think about that. In the meantime, I can cut this. So what I'm doing is adding 2 pockets that are spread out. Now you could have them go all the way to here, the pockets, they'd be bigger. But I didn't want to cover the windows. I wanted to be able to see through them. So I decided to take this little piece out. It's a little tricky and it doesn't quite lay right there, but I like it just not being over the whole thing. So we're going to do that. Honestly, I probably shouldn't have glued that first, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it here. Turn this way. I'm going to cut it, let's see if I can get this somewhat straight. I'm going to cut it at the top of the window there. Where's my clear ruler? Oh, did you lose it? Huh. Interesting. I'll bet it's in my plastic bin here. I lose that clear ruler all the time because it's hard to see. I'm always losing it. I try putting it back in the same place, but you know, that never happens. And then sometimes it's the cat. He comes over here and says, oh look, there's something on the edge of the desk, so let me play with that. Knocks it off. I don't even see it at all, guys. Alright, well, maybe we're not using that ruler. We'll use the metal ruler. Alright. I like my clear one because then I can see through what I'm doing. I'm going to use my Sharpie here. So I just want to mark where I want to cut this. Try not to get my acetate. And then same thing for the other window. So I'm just doing like 2 pieces. And then I'm going to cut those out. And I'm going to cut some of this off. I don't need all that. The more of this you have, the less deep your pocket will be because it does kind of get in the way. So I'm going to leave like, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch. Well, we'll say a little more than 1/4 of an inch. Maybe 3/4 of an inch. I don't know, that sounds too much. Almost a half. It doesn't matter. Leave what you want. Just enough for it to grab hold of. So we're going to try this. Don't need all that. Okay, so we still have just a little tab. And then we're going to take out that little piece. So I'm just going to kind of wing it here. The last time I didn't glue it together right there because I only attached one side of it so that it wouldn't be so bulky. So we're going to see if I can get it apart. And if not, I might just sand it down a little bit or something. Yeah, I don't think I can. So this part gets attached to our little cards. And then this part really just goes away, or it just is glued to keep that together. Now, I might have enough to just go ahead and cut it completely off, but I'm not sure, so I'm probably going to just glue it to one side or the other, and then hopefully I'll cover that back up with something. I don't know. I hadn't decided if I was covering these windows or not. I might. So we're going to glue it. Oh, it doesn't really matter which side. I'm just going to pick a side, I guess. But I am going to miter it a little bit because it's too close like this. So just miter it ever so slightly on each side of that. Same thing here. Just, it helps it fold without as much bulk. And the same thing on the top here. A little bit of a miter. And right here. Okay. And then I guess I'll just glue it to the front. If I can get it to open back up. So we'll glue it to this side. So I'm just going to put some glue on here. Like I said, if it feels like it's a little bulkier than I wanted, then I'll sand it down or something. I don't want to make sure it still folds, so I'm going to fold it before that dries both ways. Make sure that I'm not losing my fold. Like I said, just a little bulky there. Feels okay. Hopefully I got it somewhat straight this time. Last time I got it a little bit crooked. It didn't seem to affect it too overall, but I noticed when I pushed it, I got a little bit more of a bubble. It seems okay this time. So we need cardstock and figure out what color we want to put on these. I could do the same, but I might try, I've got some, what else do I have that would look good there? I don't know if I want to do brown. I could just do a solid black. Try and see what other cardstocks I have that would look good there. Possibly black, or I just do the same white and keep it all the same. What do we think, black or white? I don't think I want to go with too many colors because just the envelope itself doesn't really lend to that. I did blue here mostly because I was trying to use stuff I was going to use. I did blue and purple because there aren't colors I use a lot. And this was just it's a sample for my ideal book. So that's why that one has colors. So these are the things that are going in the pockets. So mostly black and white, a little bit of brown. These have some greens, but they also have the black. I think I'm just going to do the pockets black and then maybe decorate them with something. I think that'll be a good choice. And I think it'll look good if I do more of that black and white. And then I have like a brick that's black and white too. So we're going to make a piece to go here. We need 2 of them. And I think what I did last time is I took it this direction, which is 8.5, and I lined it up to where it needed to be. So just below the window. And then we're going to cut it here. And I'll need 2 of those. Let me just double check they are the same size. I think they are. Let's see, about the same? Yep, they're the same. Okay. So I need 2 pieces like that. I think I'm going to change to my other cutter. It's easier. Then you get 2 pieces, and I don't think I'm going to score it. I thought about scoring it, but I don't need to. So what I'm going to do to hook them on there, I found this was a little easier. She did 2 pieces, separate pieces, and glued them, but I just found it was easier just to go ahead and fold them because it's longer than this already, and I can just cut it after. So I'm going to fold these in half. I can see the edge. Wow, that's so hard to see. So hard when you're working with these dark colors. Try to see the edge. All right, I think I got it. Let's do that. Same thing here. Okay, so this will end up getting cut and has a notch in it, but we're going to do it after. And I'll show you why. So let's see, which direction was I? That's the front, that's the back. So this direction is the way I want to go. Oh no, that's not right. Did I do it backwards? I don't think I did. It doesn't really matter, but I don't think I did. Hold on, let me make sure. No, that's right. Okay, that's right. I don't know. This must be the front page then. Yeah, I think that's the case. Okay, so take your little piece, glue it here and here, and then we're going to put glue on this. Okay, so it's going to fit in here like this. Make sure you got it the right size before you go starting to do it. All right, so we're going to glue here, not to the all the way to the end. Leave the end open, so about 1/2 inch from the end. I think it's easier to attach this way. Glue this on each side. Okay, and then this gets closed. Okay, and then you're going to open this back up just a little, enough to slip it on this, and then real quickly lay it down so you know you're in the right spot, especially if you're using art glitter. You know you only got a second. Don't get so close it won't still move, so 1/16 of an inch or so. Okay, and then we're going to trim this last. I think this works easiest for getting it on here. So not quite to the end. Not quite to the end. If you're worried about that drying, you can close the folder first. And fast enough, it'll be fine. Glue that down, glue that down. Glue everywhere. And then we're going to slide that on there. Open it up enough. Goodness gracious. There. Make sure I'm measured in the right spot. Fold it down so it can move. Feels about right. Double check that it can still move. All right, so now we've got our little pockets, but they're closed right now. Okay, they're completely closed up. You can't get in them. So now we have to take off the end at the point where it hits here, or just under. Okay, so I'm gonna mark that. I'm gonna go just inside the envelope, so about there and about there, and then lay them out. Put them on your grid. It's easiest. They should be the same. And then we're just going to trim that off. So trim those. And you can go ahead and mark your center if you want. Let's see if I can get them on the grid in a spot where I can see the center. That looks like center. Nope, that's not a center. Is that? I don't think it's going to match either of these. All right, we're just going to measure. Where is my clear ruler? Oh, it's right there. It's just easier to work with this thing. All right, so what is that? About 3.5. What is that? 1 3/4 ish. Does that look like center? Almost 2. Almost 2. Okay, I think that's about center. So we'll say 1 3/4 ish. Somewhere around center. And then you want to take a little notch thingy and make a little notch. Hopefully somewhat centered. A little notch. And now we have pockets. And you'll have to train them just a little bit because they're pretty tight. So you can get a bone folder in there. I'm going to use a longer one. Just trying to get it to open so I can just train it just a little bit so that it's easier to work with. And do this after your glue is dry. Make sure that your glue is dry or you'll just split it open and then you'll have to do it again. Okay, so now we have 2 pockets. Okay, not too bad, I hope. Glue all over my fingers. Oh my goodness. All right, so now we're going to cover these with something. So I think I should have something prettier looking through those windows. I'm thinking, so one here. Doesn't really matter which one. Okay, we'll do it that way, I think. And then I'm just double checking that the size isn't different on either of these. Your envelopes are not always consistent, guys, so that looks right. So this window shows through here. So approximately from about here to about here, we want to put something, okay? I'm just going to make a little extra over here. It won't show. Okay, so I need something in here. And we'll call this right. And then this one, we need something from about here to about here. We'll call this one left and just put it here. Okay, so I'm just marking them just so I don't forget where everything goes. And you might want to do directional too if you got a direction. So we'll just say this is up and this is up. I think that's correct. I'm going to double check it real quick. Let's see, so if it folds like this, folds like this, that's my front pocket, right? Yes, front, inside, yes. So that is definitely the top. Okay. All right, so let's put something on there. What do you think we should put? I don't know. Something I could cover with paper, but you know, that's more bulk, and we've got stencils, so let's use a stencil. We got flowers. What else do I have? I've got brick and stuff. I've got bubbles, pine cones. I have a burlappy thing. I know I've got some brick in here. I've got brick. Like I said, I think I'm going to use brick paper on some of this because I have this paper. I think it's this one. This paper was in this Farmhouse kit. Had the same stripes as my other one, or at least similar. And then it also has this brick. So if I do that with kind of a, maybe a grayish white brick, some that'll show, but not too dark. That might look good, right? Or I could just do burlap, but I think I'll try the brick. I might have to piece it because it's not quite long enough. Almost. So let's do that. So what color? I bet I have Lost Shadow somewhere. Let's see if we can find it. I think Lost Shadow would work. Yes. Let's see. Put these back. Nobody's saying anything today. Either that or my stuff isn't working. All right, I think y'all are just being quiet. That's okay. I know how that goes. Let's see if this Lost Shadow will show. So I've got Lost Shadow, and I've got the black soot if it doesn't show. I've got my pen out of my glue again. Always. There. Let's see if it'll show. So, go a little above where I thought I needed to be. Let's see what these do with Lost Shadow on them. I just want it to show enough so that it doesn't look plain. Like I said, if it's too light, I can throw a little bit of black soot on here. It's not too bad. It's showing. Probably should have taped it or something. Where's my black soot? Are these both oxides? Yeah, okay. I didn't want to mix them if they're not. I'm just going to take a little bit of black soot. I'm not really putting it everywhere. I'm just distressing it a little bit. I have no idea what it'll look like. Hopefully it'll look interesting. And I'll go back over that with the Lost Shadow. Okay, hopefully that worked. Yes, that's cute. Okay, so that gives us this. Okay, and then we're going to do a little more because it's down further than that, so we'll match to that brick there. Looks about right. It doesn't really, I don't think it repeats perfectly. Let's see if I turn it around. Can I repeat it somewhat good? It doesn't have a great repeat. That's pretty close. I'll do right there. So I'm going to do the Lost Shadow first. Oops. Tape it down. Hold on. I'm moving way too much. I'm just going to tape it a little bit. Just a fraction. Otherwise, who knows? It'll be everywhere. All right, try that again. I don't think I needed to go quite that far down, but that's okay. We're just going to, little touches of this. And I'm just kind of tapping it on somewhat the corners. And I'm going back over it with my Lost Shadow just to soften it. Okay. There we go. We have a cute brick. We'll do the same thing on the other one. So we'll start somewhere about there. Take paper too. And this is just gonna make it not boring when the tag is out. Hope I can get this finished, guys. You know me, always taking on something that's gonna take me longer than I have. Right there. here, I think. Where's that line at? I think it's right here. Bit of black. All right, there we go. So some brick. This will wash off with water. Not right this second. And can put these where they go. So these are pockets, so you don't want to, where's my arrow? It says right, so I know that's that way. Just making sure. Yeah, okay, that's right. You don't want to close it completely. This is up and right. So this is this one, and this one's this one. All right, so what you want to do is just on the sides. I'll do this one first. And you definitely want to make sure that you are in from your folds. If it looks like it's too close, trim it a little more. I think I'm okay, but I'm just double checking. Because if it hits, you won't be able to fold it. Right, so I think we're good. So we're going to put glue. So not there at the top, that's our pocket. So we're glue on the sides. All the way. And on the bottom. You just want to make sure that you can try to get this on here as even as possible. So I'm going to start on this line because I know I need to be about a 1/16 from that. And then hopefully the other side goes where it's supposed to. Just double check real quick before I push that too much. Seems like everything folding. Nope, something's weird there. I think it's just that. I don't think it's in the fold, is it? No, it's definitely not in the fold. It's something else. It's probably that tab. I think it's that tab is still fighting me a little bit. Yeah. I'm just gonna give it a little more push. Yeah, my cardstock's not there. I'm like, okay, surely it's not. No, it's not. Okay. So there's that side. And this is going to be the pocket. So that's going to get notched. Make sure it's still open. So a notch is going to go here, somewhere center-ish. Let's see. Somewhere about here. And then this one, make sure we're the right way, goes this way. And I'm going to glue it this way because it'll be easier for me. Okay. Put your hand where you don't want glue if you get confused about it easy. It does help. Now this pocket that has the window at the top, it could be glued halfway down to stop your tag from going the whole distance. If you didn't want to put a long tag in there, I could glue it closed just past the window, this whole area, and then I would only have to have a shorter tag. But I'm going to leave it because I've already got long tags. Try to line this up. And hopefully my center is going in the right spot. It looks like it is. Just make sure we still fold okay. Yeah, this being doubled is a little too thick. It's trying to fight me. So I would say only use one layer there if you do this project. It's doable, but it is a little thick. It might get better if I sand it, possibly. All right, so there's that. I didn't ink any of this. I don't think it's necessary, but I could also ink it after just by folding it like this. All right, so there's our two pockets. And let's find the center of this one. We'll go ahead and put our notch. Center. That line is messing with me, but I'm pretty sure that's the center. Yeah, I think it's just the lines messing with me. All right, make sure there's nothing there, like the window, so you don't go too deep. I'm only going to go just a little bit. That should be all right. Do the same thing here. Just make sure everything's out of the way. You got lots of things here. You can open it just to make sure it's actually the top. Sorry. Wiggling around a lot. Just want to make sure I don't get the pocket. And just a little bit there. So then we have two little notches for our windows. You can ink those if you want. I might do it later. So now we have brick showing through there. Brick showing through there. That looks cute. So we want to cover this with something to possibly journal on, and this is a pocket. So this needs to be cardstock for the pocket, and the pocket direction, it's kind of up to you, but I'll do it the way she did hers because I think I liked it. So you gotta figure out which way it opens. Opens like this. Okay, so she has it so it's open on this side. Okay, so the pocket needs to angle this way. And it's also got a curve you got to deal with, so deal with that. Is that the top or the bottom? That is the bottom, right? Oh, I angled the bottom instead of the top? I did, didn't I? Well, we'll just angle both then. Yeah, somehow I got flipped around. Don't ask me how, but I did. So this is now my front. It's 1/2 dozen the other guys. But since I did angle it, I'm going to go ahead and just angle both sides just to make life easier because I kind of messed up there. So we'll just angle that side too. And the whole thing will be angled. I don't know how I did that. At one point or another, I flipped it. We'll go ahead and angle it. May or may not be the same. I can't tell where that point is. I'm going to put it on a point so I can tell. There. And we'll say about there. Not too much. Gotta get through it. Nope. There. All right. Now we have top and bottoms angled. Oh well, it's not a big deal, guys. I really got to repair that. It's so weak. All right, so there's one, there's two. That's the top. As long as my top looks right. I'm going to angle this. I can't do it with anything but scissors. So the hardest part, I think, is matching up to these curves with your cut material, but it's doable. It's just it's a little tricky. All right, make sure that's down. Let's grab something. I think so. This pocket I said goes what direction? See, I already forgot. I meant to put tape there because I'll definitely keep forgetting. So take a piece of tape. I think it was this way. Let me look. Where'd it go? I lost it. Oh, there it is. All right, top. Yeah, that way. And then the back one is this way. So try to match that angle, hopefully. So pockets here, and you could just go straight across. It doesn't have to be that way. But we're going to cover this with something, see if we can get it a little bit stronger. I think I will go with just scrapbook. So lines, because this is kind of for journaling, I think. I could do bricks or I could do lines. I think I want to do the bricks on the other side. All right, so let's do the lined paper. I could even possibly do this. It's not too dark. I don't know if I want that all the way across. I said I was going to do it the other way though, didn't I? This doesn't need to be heavy, so honestly it's probably better if it's not. Alright, so I'm going to do this. I think this will be fine. And then we'll do the brick on the other side. Alright, let's try this. So I want this way because that way for journaling I think it'll make more sense. So what I'm going to do is lay that on there where I think I want it. And I'm going to fold it over. Push that back in. I'm going to pull it out a teeny bit because remember we don't want it exactly on the fold. And then am I somewhat straight? I think I'm straight. It doesn't look straight because I'm not straight on the grid, but I think it should be because it's flush against this. Hopefully the lines are somewhat straight. And I'm just going to make a mark to cut this out. Make sure your white side is against the paper or it'll be backwards. Okay, so that's that one. And I'm going to say this is, we'll call it A. And then we want to do the same thing on the other side. So here, pull it out just ever so slightly, just for that fold. And I'll be cutting just inside this line I make, so that it's just inside the envelope. And we'll call this B. All right. And I forgot to put my lid back on again. Hold on. Gotta dry my glue out. I think I'm going to use glue stick on this one. Nope. Clean the pen too. So cut them out. Scissors or ruler? I think ruler. Okay, so take your ruler and you want to cut to where you can see your line. So cut on this side. If I cut on this side, I can't see how far I'm going in, okay, because I cover up the line. So you cut on this side, and then you can see, you know, that you're 1/8 of an inch in or whatever. I'm just going to take this whole piece. And same thing here. It's like more like a 1/16 of an inch. Whatever you feel comfortable with, you know, having showing. I'm okay with that. And then I'll just do the corners by hand. Hopefully they match up. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Hopefully they kind of match. there's B. And then let's do A. Same thing. Put it on the side where you can see your line. Here, let's cut this whole piece. About there. Save that. Okay. Now let's see if it matches. Hopefully it does. Alright, so A should go right here. That's pretty close. Alright, so glue stick or regular glue? I don't know. I might do a little of both. This is so thin. I'm hoping it covers okay. So let me grab a piece of cardboard. Try to find a halfway clean one. I just cut some the other day. I don't know what to do with them. No, I guess I'm not finding a clean one. So I want to start. I'm gonna start on like halfway, I think, and try to do it that way. So I don't think I'll be able to line it up if I glue the whole thing at once. I just don't. I feel like this is probably getting empty. Yep, that's totally empty. All right, I'm gonna grab another one. Start with this side. The idea is that you get it down in the right spot first try, but you know, may or may not happen. We shall see. Try to line that up. Remember, not right on the fold. And I can always trim the outside if I need to. It might not be exactly where I want it, but close. All right, that feels about right. All right, so we got the top part done. And we're going to do the bottom part. I prefer the glue stick when I'm going to write on something. It's just smoother, but it'll secure better if I use the art glitter on the edge. Okay. And just make sure we still fold fine. We do. All right, that might be enough. I might cover that side too. I don't know. So this part takes forever, guys. I hate that it does, but it just does. All right, got our B side. Make sure everything matches. This does. Oh, there it does. It was just me. I didn't have it lined up. All right, so we want to put glue here first. I think doing half at a time is just a lot easier. every time I try to do the whole thing at once, it rolls on me, and it's just really difficult to get lined up. So I'm looking at that inside edge. Okay, and at the bottom. A little bit on the outside. Okay. There we go. Great. Okay. So at this point, you can decide if you want to cover this too, or you could just leave it. It's not bad. As long as it's sturdy enough, I think it's okay. This is the side I was a little worried about, but I think with the other paper on there, I'm okay. It's not 100% perfect, but I don't want to bulk it up anymore, and honestly, I don't want to take more time because it's going to take forever. So I think I'm going to leave that color, since it's pretty much the same color anyway. And it doesn't look horrible, I guess. This side's a little rough. Should I cover it? I don't want to. I was going to do brick, though. I wanted to do this in brick. But that looks better, although it's still got the Discover there. I don't want that there either. This is harder to cover because you got to deal with the window. I think I'm going to cover this, only because this piece is really thin. It's actually a little falling apart there. I think I should cover it. I'm debating if I want to trim it any, but I think it's okay. If it's bad, I'll trim it later, but I'm going to put brick there, I think. So I'll have to recheck my direction because I'm going to totally forget, because I'm going to cover it. Technically, you wouldn't have to cover the whole thing, I guess, but I'm probably going to just because it's easier. Come here. All right, let's do that. Glue, you going to stay good enough? Probably not. Let's close you up. I'm running out of time. I did not expect this to take the whole time. All right, brick. There it is. So I like this brick. I think it's cute. So we'll put this here, do it the same way. So you want the white edge against the white edge, and then fold her over. This is just the easiest way to match something like this up. Make sure you pull it out just a tiny bit so that you're not on the fold. And find your pencil. Try not to write on your other part. All right, we'll call this one B. And do our other side. About there. Pull it out just a tiny bit. Okay. Can't quite get that edge. It's so thin, there's nothing to grab hold of. All right, and we'll call this one A. And I guess worst comes to worst and I don't finish, I'll do it next time. But I'm going to try. I'm trying, guys. I just can't work fast. Oh my gosh, I was watching the girls on YouTube do their 3 under 30 challenge. It's Seven Plaza did it. Follow her, Margaret with Seven Plaza. And I was watching that and I'm thinking, there is no way I could do 3 things in under 30 minutes. And some people are failing. Some people are just haven't been able to do it. But then some people are getting it done. And I'm just like, yeah, no. And then a couple Margaret was cheating on. She was like, you know, she already cut out pieces or whatever, you know. Because all this cutting out takes forever. And I could have done it ahead of time, but then you wouldn't know how to do it. Because the way I cut this out is very specific. You know, understanding that, you know, it helps if you put the ruler on this side, not the other side. Little things like that. They don't seem like much, but if you're someone that's new, you don't think about stuff like that initially. You just don't. There's B. Free carries off. All right, that. Okay. B goes here, and A will go there. So we'll do B first. Yeah, I think that'll look nice. You just double check, make sure it looks about right. Yep, looks good. And glue on the top first. If y'all hear noises, my hubby's getting in the shower, I think. Which unfortunately is right next to me. So I had a glob there. Okay, line this up, bottom, pulling it away just about a 1/16, and do this half. Glue stick is not super dependable, so if you do this little bit of art glitter on the edge, it really does help. Glob there. Get that glue off. So let that dry before I try sticking it together. It's going to get all over everything because I got too much glue. It globbed on me. So paper towel. Glue everywhere. Alright, and we'll do the other side. You can just double check, make sure everything's still folding. We're still good. And we'll do this side with A. Sure fits. Yep. Looks good. Don't do that. Luckily it'll flatten back out, but try not to do that. Okay. So we're going to line this up. almost getting there. I think I'm getting faster. You do enough of them, you will get faster, but I'm always slow the first couple of times. You know, I'm trying to make sure I explain everything good enough. All right, there. Almost done. So now we have, let's see which way it folds. It folds this way, this way, this way. Okay, so that's the way it folds. So you have that, you have that, that, and then the inside, window pocket, 2 pockets, window pocket. Cool. I think it's cool. All right, so we have things to go in, and hopefully everything fits. I tried to figure it out ahead of time. And then we can decorate this a little bit. I'm debating on if I want to try to cover that Discover. I might throw a little bit of washi down there or something. Maybe. I've got that chicken wire washi. I might throw that there. So these 2 pockets, like I said, they work best if you kind of train them a little bit. And then if you put a tab on the end, I think it'll help too. Try to train them just a little. Oh, I know what I didn't do that I was going to do. Hopefully it won't be an issue. Sometimes the plastic on the acetate will catch a tag, and I meant to tape it, but I didn't, so hopefully it won't catch. If it's really glued down good by the maker, you know, when it's made, then it won't snag when you're putting your tag in. But if it's not glued down flush, it sometimes will snag a little, so keep that in mind. I didn't do it, so hopefully it's fine. Oh my goodness. If I can get it to open. So I'm just helping these open just a little. Just making sure everything is somewhat open. All right, so then you can figure out where you want to put stuff. So I've got these. I did 3. I really only need 2. I like them all. So the chickens will fit this window. They're both really cute. So that's going to go there, and I think I'm going to put maybe a tab on it. Though it's got the notch, it doesn't have to have a tab. So that's cute there. And then if I didn't do that one, I could do this one. They're both cute. They're very similar. They do fit. It's just finagling it. Can you see them? This one has a little barn. And then this one has little flowers. So they're both cute. I might like the barn just slightly better. Okay, so that can go there. Cute. And then on the other side, I've got this one. It's like, it's an outhouse, really, is what it looks like. I don't know if it's an outhouse or not, but that's what it looks like. Don't know if that was the intention, but that's going to shine through like that. Very nice. And then we've got these 2 guys. We've got 2 little kids milking cows, and then we have a little kid riding the tractor. And these fit in here, like so. Okay, and that one's hitting. might be too long. I might have trimmed that a little. All right, let me trim it a little bit. Let's see if I can get it not to hit. Where's my big scissors? Like I said, I did them using my prototypes, so there's a possibility that the pockets aren't quite the same. The goal was for them to be the same, but you know, sometimes I did a little further in than I wanted. We'll do them all further in. Wow, so crooked. Alright, that's not too bad. We'll trim this one further and then we should be good. Well, it's not as lined up as it was, but we'll see if it fits. Almost. So I may or may not have to reprint that one. So I don't think I can push that in any. Let's see. Sometimes it's just glue, but I've also got those little folds in there, so I think it's just too long. I think it might be too long. Yeah, it's just too long. So, yeah, I'm going to have to redo this one. For right now, since I have to redo it anyway, I'm just going to trim it right to the white. It'll fit. I just won't have the black. I could ink it, I guess. If I trim it to the white, it'll fit. Possibly ink it or something. Maybe I'll do that. Then I won't have to redo it. Alright, let's see if it'll fit first, and then just ink it up. Oops, put them in the right way. Alright, if it's... Alright, black ink. Black soap, that should work. Time is it? 20 minutes. It's not quite the same without the border, but you know, either I reprint it and do it again, or I just ink it. One or the other. Okay. Now he fits. So they have to fit flush or you can't shut it. So you can't really put a tab on there either because of the way that is. So there's that one. It fits good. It's a little bit smaller. I thought it'd be okay, but not quite. It was just a little too big. All right, there. And then this could be a journaling space, or you could add pictures or whatever. And then same thing here. Which way does it fold? Hold on. Folds. Let me think about it. How does it fold? It folds like this, kind of. I think these I had on the other side, right? Let me think. That. Oh, I don't have my pockets. I gotta put my pockets. Okay. That's what's missing. So, pocket here. This. No. This way. That's what it is. I was like, something's not right. What is it? There. That. 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 And then that. 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 Got it. It's tricky. You gotta think about how it goes together. So then these are for the pockets. I'm not sure. I might have more picked out. I don't remember. I thought I had a girl picked out somewhere. Where is she at? She's floating around here somewhere. I'll find her. Is that her? There she is. I had these. These are for, I think, the pockets. They're a little more color to them, but I think it's okay. Okay. Glue lids. So we got to cut a pocket for here and for the other side. And oh my goodness, let that dry out again. Quit doing that. I don't know what cardstock I was going to use. I guess I could just use black again, but I don't know, maybe. I could do, I don't know if I want stripes on that one. I think I just want the solid black. Is this tall enough? It doesn't have to be this tall. Let's see. If I do it this way, I think I can make that work. That's the back. This is the front. Okay. So this one will go like this. And then pencil. Okay, that goes there. We'll see if we have enough cardstock to do both of them out of this. We might not. So just inside this line, this one I'm just going to try to cut it. Hopefully I'll get it straight. So that goes like that, and then angled that way. So it doesn't have to be super sharp angle. We'll say from the point to maybe here. Point there. Helps if you actually stay on the ruler, but it's close enough. All right, that goes like that. Yep, that works. Okay, so this one only glue here and here on the back. We're not going to glue the side. What time is it? I'm holding where I don't want glue. That's always the challenging part on something like this, especially when it's curved like this and you have to remember which way it lays. It's like, what? I think it was like that. Okay, so like that. Not notching this. Alright, so that's going to be a pocket, and it can hold one of these maybe. Okay. I'm going to let it dry for a second. And then the other side, the pocket goes that way. Let's see, we got enough of this left, hopefully. So, yep, I think we do. Okay, so it's going to go like this. Try and get it straight. I can't really tell where it's heading. But I think it needs to be about there. And we could go a little higher. Let's see if I can move it down just a little. I think there. So we'll say B, B. And we'll figure out the angle for the other part in a second. And then angle, let's see, or a little too wide. A little bit in. this horribly. I got totally off on that. I'm trying to get the corner in a decent spot there, but the corners always mess with me, guys. I don't know why. Alright, something like this. Try and get it, hopefully. Third try. Kind of right. No, I'm just failing horribly. I really am. I'm really failing horribly at this. There won't be anything left by the time I get it to fit. I don't know why I got so off on that one. Okay, so this goes like this goes like this, and then where'd my pencil go? So we'll say from about here to maybe here. They don't have to be exact. I don't know where the other side as far as measurement. If you cut them both the same size at the same time, you could do it, but I didn't, so. Okay, let's see if this works. I think it's a little shorter, but that's okay. We're just going to go with it. It's going to be a little bit shorter. Hopefully I'm getting glue on the right side. Okay. Got 5 minutes, guys. Goodness gracious. All right. Let's see. Did we get it that time? So we have our pocket here, which we've got these, this. I also have these. They're not as interesting. I have this black corn. That could go there. I had these, but I think I'll save those for something else. And then I've also got either this girl or this or both. So I could do that corn, this corn. One half does the other. I kind of like that. I think it looks cool. And then should I use her? She looks cute. Let's use her. I'll round her though. These are just cardstock. They're not, this one's not backed. I might back it later, but I didn't. So for right now, I'll just leave it. If I back it, I'll probably have to trim it down a little bit more. But anyway, we'll save these for something. I think that works, guys. All right, let's jump over to our, I've got a few minutes. So we'll decorate this a little more later, I think. Put some pictures there of some sort. I don't know what yet. And then I may or may not put this washi tape. I'm thinking maybe I can use some of this, cover up that Discover. I'll have to cut it to fit, but I think that would work. So I got that in there. I'll play with that later. So that'll be another day. But we got the majority of it done. So cute. Okay. And then we've got our little, let me find something I can work on. So I want to show you what happens with this stuff, because it's very flaky now. See, he's all crackled, but these crackles, they're not stuck good. So if I move that, it's going to peel right off. So like I said, what I've been doing is using just a little bit of matte medium. Just put it on there, put it on a brush. I have a brush sitting here somewhere, or did I leave it in the bathroom? Probably left it in the bathroom. No, we'll use a real good brush. We'll use this one. Just a little bit of matte medium, and you let it kind of ooze under your edges. If you're worried about the color being different, go ahead and paint the whole face. But this is matte, so it shouldn't be too visible, but I do try to get it to go under as much as I can. It'll ooze in the little cracks and help attach it. If nothing else, it makes it more flexible. Because otherwise it's just not, I mean, this whole piece feels like it'll just lift right off of there. So, I don't know. I don't know any fix for it other than this. So this is what I've been doing. It seems to work. I know it's an extra step, but I want to be able to use the crackle because I really like it, so I will take the extra step. Just little feet. Oops, see? Once this dries though, that'll stick down there just fine. If I can get it back lined up where it was. Where was it? This way? No. This way? Yes. So we're just going to stick it back down there. And so once it dries, it'll stay. But until it dries, this stuff is not adhered. I don't know if any of you have tried a crackle on the paper and had this issue. I'm trying to just get under it as much as I can. Okay, and then once that dries, make sure you wash your brush out good, or it'll make it hard. I'll wash it with soap in a minute. And then once it dries, it'll be like the other one I showed you, which I've buried somewhere. Don't know where I put them. They're where a minute ago. Where'd they go? Oh, there they are. So once it dries, it'll be nice and flexible, like this one. Okay? See, it's not going nowhere. Not going nowhere. All right, so that's just the step I have to take to make it stick to my cardstock. Well, maybe y'all have tricks too, or you've not had to deal with that. I don't know. And then once that dries out, I can make a tag with it or a pocket or whatever. All right, so there's that. There's our project. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. I managed to get it done in time. Amazing. Other than the decorating. We'll do decorating later. It's cute. Y'all like the folder? I think it's cute. Lots of journaling space. I could put another pocket here if I wanted. I don't think it needs more pockets, but it could be for pictures or journaling space or whatever. You know, pockets here, and then it opens up, and you got cute little window tags, and these little guys. So, I think it's a cute project. All right, guys. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your evening. I will see you guys on Wednesday. And take care till then. All right. Bye-bye.